Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. I want you to imagine waking up one day to an absolutely chilling realization. What if we humans are literally nothing more than just food for other unseen awarenesses? Yeah, it's a seriously jarring thought, right? But it instantly sets this high-stakes, mystical tone for our journey today. We're decoding Carlos Castaneda's fascinating book, The Active Side of Infinity, where we'll explore the radical teachings of a Yaqui Indian shaman named Don Juan Modestio. And spoiler alert, we're going to uncover a highly specific, almost secretive method he teaches for reclaiming our own life force.
Just let that sink in for a second. That totally frames our human condition right from the jump, painting everyday existence as a massive energy trap. Basically, Don Juan is saying we're brought into this world essentially to be consumed by our own anxieties, our doubts, all those little daily trivialities, and that drains us to feed a totally different kind of awareness. But there is a way out of this trap. Don Juan's shamanic teachings are the ultimate solution to stop this energy drain, and it literally all revolves around one highly specific task.
Section 1. The Shaman's Energy Album.
So, to understand why building this album is absolutely crucial, we really have to look at the concept of the active side of infinity. You see, Don Juan tasked Castaneda with creating a highly curated collection of memorable events from his life. And we're not talking about some nostalgic scrapbooking here. This is a purely pragmatic tool. Don Juan doesn't see life after death as some vague, cloudy heaven. He describes it as a concrete region packed with practical affairs. So collecting these specific life events is actually a bona fide device to stir up hidden caches of energy deep within yourself. By redeploying that unused energy, a shaman is preparing for the definitive journey we're all gonna face at the end of life, with the ultimate goal of retaining individual awareness instead of just fading away.
Section 2. The Conflict of Two Minds.
Now, before Castaneda could pick even a single memory for this album, he had to confront the absolute chaos of the voices inside his own head. And this perfectly illustrates a major duality that Don Juan talks about. On one hand, we've got the true mind. Think of this as the actual product of our real-life experiences. It's this faint voice that brings order, directness, and purpose. But honestly, it rarely speaks because it's usually shoved into obscurity. Why? Well, because of the other side, the foreign installation, which is our daily mind. This is the source of literally all our petty complaints, our conflict, self-assertion, our ego, you name it. So to build this album, Castaneda has to somehow bypass that booming, annoying voice of the daily mind and tune into that quiet, true mind. And as you can probably guess, this is definitely not passive journaling. Don Juan frames the act of remembering as a rigorous, high-stakes act of war against that foreign installation. To pull this off, you have to completely strip away your ego. You have to remake yourself 10 times over just to find the clarity to know what actually matters enough to go into the album.
Section 3. The Trap of Ego.
Okay, so what doesn't qualify as a memorable event to a shaman? Let's look at how Castaneda initially completely fumbled this assignment. For his first two offerings to Don Juan, he brings up, first, the day he got admitted to UCLA graduate school, and second, the day his wedding was canceled. Get this, his fiancée bails on him via a motorcycle messenger while he's just standing there in a rented gray tuxedo wearing wide-legged pants and a pink shirt held up by rubber bands. Sounds like major life stuff, right? Well, Castaneda actually admits he couldn't remember what he truly felt during either of those moments. He was just intellectually dressing them up, throwing in some fake philosophical acceptance to sound profound. Deep down, he just felt that as the quote-unquote main character of his own life, he should have felt something big.
Don Juan's verdict here is harsh, but it is brilliant. He shoots these stories down immediately. All of the story is just you, he tells him. These events fail completely because they are 100% trapped within Castaneda's personal ego. They're just all about him being the me center of the world, how he felt, how he didn't feel, his pride, his embarrassment. If you're building a true warrior's album, a memorable event absolutely cannot be just a trivial rehashing of your own personal vanity.
Section 4. The Dark Impersonal Touch.
Realizing he totally missed the mark, Castaneda swings wildly in the exact opposite direction. He figures, hey, if personal vanity doesn't work, maybe pure shock value will do the trick. So he moves from the personal ego of that canceled wedding straight into intense physical morbidity. He tells Don Juan this story about visiting a morgue as a kid, where a tuberculosis corpse literally sat up on a marble table and burped because of trapped air. Yikes, right? But Don Juan just says, nah, that's just a story about fear. So Castaneda escalates again.
This time to psychological revulsion. He talks about the funeral of a giant teenage boy whose legs had to be sawed off to fit in a normal coffin. Then he brings up his insanely ambitious friend Roy Goldpiss, who died of stress trying to be the richest guy in town and was buried sitting upright in a custom telephone booth coffin with a grotesque, forced smile on his rigor mortis face. Don Juan actually laughs at how absurd all this is, but then he clarifies something absolutely vital. He tells Castaneda he's getting closer, but he is still missing it. Even though these morbid stories step outside simple ego, a true memory requires the dark touch of the impersonal. It's not just about personal fear, it's not about being grossed out. It has to be an event that stands the test of time. A moment where you are right there in the thick of it, sure, but the event itself speaks to a truth far, far beyond your own personal drama.
Section 5. Figures in the mirror.
Eventually, Don Juan guides Castaneda to this one highly specific, completely baffling story from his past. And it's a story Castaneda had actually almost brushed off as just a sad little anecdote. It happens during his art school days in Italy. His friend Eddie, who is this hysterical Scotsman obsessed with doing a fake American accent, drags Castaneda out to the edge of the city, promising him a gift for life. They walk into this dusty, dilapidated bordello, down a hotel-like olive green hallway, right to room 112. Inside, they meet Madame Ludmilla. She's an aging prostitute wearing a red silk robe with feathery sleeves, and she tells him she's going to show him a routine called Figures in Front of a Mirror. She cranks up this old, shiny Victrola that starts playing a haunting, circus-like march, and the show begins. Madame Ludmilla starts repeating this chanting refrain as she dances. She's kicking her legs up, hand on her head, spinning like a top and awkwardly showing off her behind like some clumsy can-can dancer. But Castaneda notes that she did this with such girlish abandon and childlike sweetness, it deeply, deeply jolted him. As the Victrola's springs slowly wound down and the music started fading out, she seemed to just twirl away into the distance. In that exact moment, a profound, overwhelming despair and loneliness, feelings Castaneda didn't even know he had inside him, just surged up. He panicked, jumped up, ran out of the room, and fled down the street into the street like a madman.
When Castaneda finally finishes telling this, he honestly just assumes it's another failed attempt, just a sad personal story about a bizarre friend and a tragic woman. But then Don Juan drops this incredible philosophical payoff. This memory, it is perfect for the album, precisely because it is so deeply impersonal. Madame Ludmilla isn't just a sad anomaly. She represents the universal human condition. Don Juan points out that no matter who we are, what we think of ourselves, or what grand ambitions we're chasing, in the very end, we are all just awkwardly making senseless figures in front of a mirror as the music of our lives slowly fades out. Talk about the ultimate dismantling of the ego, right?
Which brings us to a really powerful question to consider for ourselves. Think about the memories you hold dearest right now. If you looked past your own ego, past your vanities, and tuned out that loud voice of your daily mind, what are the truly memorable events in your own life's album? Are they just extensions of your own self-importance, or do they possess that dark touch of the impersonal? Taking the time to find those moments might just be your very first step in reclaiming the energy you need for that definitive journey we are all, eventually, going to face.